Hey guys, and welcome. Today I'm going to teach you how to propagate a Rex begonia by leaf, which is a very simple method of propagating begonias as long as you get the conditions right. I'm going to take you through a few of the tools that you may need while propagating them. First of all is a Stanley knife or a box cutter or any other knife that's very sharp. You want to use a sharp knife so you don't squash the actual leaf when you're cutting it. Secondly, if you choose to cut the leaves off the actual Rex begonia, a pair of these snippers are fine, or shears or whatever you want to call them. You need your Rex begonia, of course. For propagating the Rex begonia, a $2.50 or $3 core peat, that's very good medium for propagating Rex begonias. Stops a lot of the rot. It still is organic, but I found that you don't get as much rot with it. With perlite and stuff like that, the medium seems to dry out quicker, so with this at least you've still got a bit of time to catch up if you get a bit behind with your gardening. Another thing that you'll need is Chinese takeaway containers. I've got a couple different sizes here because I'm going to show you a couple different ways to propagate them. And a baby food jar full of water. And if you really want to, root strike or rooting hormone. You want to get it for softwood cuttings, of course. I don't use rooting hormones. It seems to make no difference at all with the cuttings. You can use it if you want. It's up to you. I don't, and I still get a very good strike rate. Okay, so first of all we're going to start with wedge cutting a leaf, or post cutting. You want to make sure your utensils are clean. I put my utensils under boiling hot water, straight out of the jug, and that seems to kill off all the bacteria that may harbour. First of all, you want to grab your Rex begonia, cut off a nice healthy leaf, and cut the stem. I'm sorry I can't zoom in, but cut the stem all the way back down to the very base of the leaf. Now if you put the leaf on its top side, so you're looking at the underneath of the leaf, you'll see veins, and depending on what Rex begonia you have, there may be more or less veins, but as long as you get that main vein and you can put that in your peat moss, you're pretty well right. The way that you cut them is you just go in between two main veins. So you got one main vein and another main vein. You cut in between them, halfway between them. You take a slice off, like so. You don't have to be too gentle with them. They're quite hardy plants. And as long as you get a main vein in there, you'll have a new plant in time. So you just cut them up. It's that simple. Now with your container that you want to put your leaf cuttings into, you want to fill it up just under halfway with peat moss. Like so. Oh, a bit too much. Like so. So you got your container. It's moistened peat moss. It's got just water in it, no additives. And simply grab your leaf cutting, stick it into the soil. And you should be able to fit 10, 15 in each one of these containers. But I'm just doing this for example for you. You take another leaf off. I'll show you how fast the process is. I propagate all my begonias, all my Rex begonias anyway, this way. It gives me more plants per leaf. As long as you've got that main vein in there, you have new plants. You can even cut them as small as that, as long as they've got a main vein in there, which they're pretty evident to see. You want to stick your leaves so they're sitting upright, so they're sitting flat. And that's how simple it is. You put all your leaves like that, and do make sure that you do put a couple holes in the bottom and in the sides of the plastic container. That's just to let any excess moisture out. Close the top, grab your markers, put the date and type of begonia that you propagated. So then you know. Doing it in the wedge cutting method, you should have new plants within probably a month to 2 months, all going well. If you do see any rotten ones, take them out, remove them. This is a group that I've done earlier. And that's been a week and a half since I've done this lot. And you'll see that I can't pull any of these out. They've all taken root. And that's been a week and a half, so I should have new plants out of these ones within another week and a half to 3 weeks. Another method of propagation is via water. I use baby food jars. It creates a small environment for the plants. The more begonia leaves that you can put in there at one time is good, because begonias release their own rooting hormone, so they root quite easily in water. So to do it via water, it's the most simplest method of propagation, especially for Rex begonias. So you take your leaves, you cut it, leave the stem on, and just plonk it in the water. Just sit it in the water. You can even take younger leaves if you're running out of the amount of leaves that you got to work with. And you just sit them all in the baby food jar, fill it up decently with water, and yeah, they release their own rooting hormone, as I said, and they take root quite quickly. These ones I done also about a week and a half ago, and I'll try and see if the camera will pick it up, but that's the roots that I'm talking about. At this stage, when the roots are about 1 inch to 2 inches long, you can pot them up. So what I naturally do is I fill a pot full of soil, or almost full of soil. Grab out the one with the majority of the roots, and so you don't hurt the roots, just fill up the soil around it. Don't pack it in, as you might break the roots off. You want to use a pretty well draining mix, something that does hold a lot of water but does keep it pretty moist all the time. Begonias like to be moist but not wet, not soggy and wet. Okay, so it's that simple to propagate a begonia leaf. Another way to do it is a whole leaf cutting. Now, a whole leaf cutting, you just grab obviously a bigger container, and you fill it full of peat moss. Full of peat moss. You want to keep it quite level because you are using a whole leaf. And I'll just use one of these leaves that I put in the water. Now you do the same thing as you do with the wedge cutting. You take off the whole stem off the leaf. And then where these veins are on your begonia leaf, you just want to cut them. Not cut like the whole leaf off, just cut across the vein, just little incisions. And that's where you're going to get your new plants from. So I've just put 5 cuts along the actual veins of the begonia leaf. And what you do is you just sit that down in the peat moss and basically leave it. I'll do another one here. best part about propagating begonias is you don't have to be too precise. They're pretty hardy plants, as long as you don't put them in direct sunlight. Better show you this first. Just plonk them in like that, and they're pretty well right to go. I do give them a mist whenever the condensation on the sides of the containers looks a bit less. You'll see that there's not as much condensation building up on the side of your containers, so you want to give them a bit of a mist. They do like a wet environment but not soggy. But apart from that, I put mine under fluoro lights, but if you don't have fluoro lights you can put them on a bright windowsill, but just not in direct sunlight. You'll burn the plant and basically kill it. Fluoro lights work best. They give out a nice little warmth to the plant. It creates a nice environment for the plant. The best environment for the plant would be temperatures of around about 16 to a high side of 27 degrees. Peat moss obviously, so bacteria doesn't build up in your plants. And if you do see any rotten plants, do just pluck them out and chuck them away. But apart from that, that's all I've got to explain about propagating begonias. Thanks for listening, and please tune in. I'll be propagating more things as we go along, so please like and subscribe. Thank you.